Hey everybody. Looks like we got, well, I was gonna say five, we got six in here. Um, if I seem a little, hey Blissful, if I seem a little out of it, I got a little sleepy earlier, which is one of the reasons why I changed the time. Normally I have these at 8. I pushed it to 8:30 and then I pushed it to 9:30. The other reason was um I was, actually really getting into these short films of Cronenberg and kind of wanted to make sure I had a good handle on them before I started talking about them because that's mostly what I'm going to be talking about tonight is a few of Cronenberg's short films. Hey, Rooster. Now, this will be the final installment of Camp Cronenberg. I hope you guys have and gals have enjoyed this little walk down memory lane of David Cronenberg's films. It certainly introduced me to some more of his stuff that I had no idea he did. For instance, Fast Company, which has become a favorite film of mine now. Not because I'm into racing per se, but I was really invested in the story. I think it was well acted, and definitely not something that I would expect from Cronenberg based on his other films. But it was a nice, refreshing surprise. Not that I don't like Cronenberg's other stuff. This was just a real eye opener and a surprise to see him do something so totally different from his other films. So that's the other reason I like, you know, I just love watching movies. I love talking about movies and all that. But the other part of it is that I get introduced to stuff that I may have not watched otherwise. So when I do these retrospectives on these different directors, like with De Palma or Tarantino or now Cronenberg, that's not to say that there are some of the things that I don't much care for. When we got to the later stuff with De Palma, for instance, there were some things that just weren't my cup of tea. Um, but again, De Palma's early stuff, not his super, super early stuff. Some of that was pretty decent. But near the beginning of his career, once he got past those wacky madcap kind of late 60s, early 70s stuff. And I'm not saying all of that stuff was bad or anything. I thought they were interesting. And, Cronenberg's going to have a little mixture of that too, as well, when I'm talking about this stuff. Because there's going to be a variety of short films from a variety of years. So we're going to take a look at all of those and talk briefly about a few of his later films. And maybe even you guys in the chat will have something to add about some of these things. Hey, Unseen. And hey, Super Batman Nerd. We do have 10 people in here right now. As always, I don't demand that everybody chat, but sometimes that's how I keep track of who's in here and who's not. But sometimes people like to, and that's their prerogative, to hang back and kind of enjoy the stream without, maybe they're not really into the chat thing, you know. And maybe they just want to hang back and not really have people know that they're here, which I get. I totally get that. I was like that for a long time. I would kind of sneak into a stream or two early on, and wouldn't say anything. People used to call that lurking. They might still call it lurking, but And even now, I'll go to some of the Dead Pit live streams and I'll just sit there and listen to what they're saying, or if they have guests on there, what the guests are saying. I'll take a look at what people are putting in the chat. But sometimes I don't say a word. I don't put anything in the chat. I'm just merely a listener. And that is cool too. So, um, so I did want to remind everybody that I'm not sure about what I'm going to do or if I'm going to do anything on Tuesday. I've been putting off the final installment of Camp Cronenberg, so I thought you better get on the stick, Dana, and you better finish this up. Bliss, will you say you do that too? I think everybody probably does to some extent, and sometimes we just don't feel like talking, but we feel like listening, right? We feel like listening to whatever the person or persons on the stream are talking about. Hey, Russell. Um, so I may try to come up with something for Tuesday. If not, never fear. TJ and I will be back on Wednesday, hopefully, doing the last 8 episodes of the second season of Friday the 13th, the series. And then after that, we will, of course, be moving on to the final season. There were only 3 seasons of Friday the 13th, the series, believe it or not. Thursday, I am planning, I guess I should say, on doing another Seductive Poison, the Resurgence. And I'll pick one of the topics that I have not covered. And we'll just go from there. Friday will be another, or I'm planning on another early Friday stream, which will soon be called Midday with Dana and Jay. I'm really going to try to get, hopefully, I can get another intro done before Friday so we can, kind of throw that new intro in there. Because Jay's really excited about doing this, he comes on other times too for watch alongs and other various streams if he is interested in them. But he seems really interested in doing this early Friday stream with me every Friday. And I think that you guys and gals in the chat have enjoyed having me or me having him on, rather. And that's not to say that other people can't join us along the way. I will still put the link in the chat in case anybody wants to stop by and hang out with me and Jay for a while. And, we went on for 4 hours last time. I don't know that we'll be doing that all the time, but I was just having so much fun that I just, got carried away with it all. Ruchi, you say I'm a lurker. Well, we're not going to be talking about horror television series tonight, Russell. Now Wednesday, TJ and I will be, but that's okay. If that's not what you're into, that's not what you're into. We can't expect everybody to be into exactly the same thing. So I get that. That's cool. Bliss, what you say, Rooster, I call it being an interested viewer, LOL. And that's certainly how anybody can look at that, Blissful. I think that is, you put that very well, I guess. You know, um, well, not I guess. You did put it very well. An interested viewer, exactly. Everybody doesn't have to participate in the chat. They can still be a supporter of your channel and a supporter of your videos and all that stuff without coming in here and talking all the time. You don't have to do that. Super Batman Nerd, you say I'm lurking while playing some GTA 4. I just got my Texas Chainsaw Massacre game in over the weekend, and Steve actually installed it on the PlayStation 5. So I eagerly anticipating being able to play that soon. Well, it looks like, Blissful says, I love that idea. Rooster says, I think the Dana and Jay show is great. Well, thank you, guys and gals. TJ says, hi, pizza chef. Yeah, I was technically yesterday evening or afternoon. I was a pizza chef of sorts. Didn't turn out too bad either. Blissful, you say sometimes you craft while you listen to lives. Yeah, sometimes, for instance, if I'm listening to a Dead Pit live or something, I, will do other things while sometimes because I have the echo device in there. If I'm doing something in the kitchen, I will just have it on in the background, entertaining me as I cook something or, fix a snack to eat or something like that. So, um, so not only do we have all of that upcoming, but this Saturday and Sunday, we have another couple of watch alongs. Phantasm will be Saturday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Stand By Me will be Sunday, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm planning on keeping that 7 p.m. Eastern Time slot this time because I'm not planning on cooking anything. Oh, well, thank you, TJ. You say you should have held up the whole pizza for the viewers. That the slice looked good. I actually do have a picture on the thumbnail of me pointing to the pizza, and I turned it into like a cartoon like picture because I personally I think I look better in cartoon form than I do in real life, but. So I'm like, how can these cartoon pictures look so much better than me in real life? I don't know what it does, but it just looks a lot better. But thank you for saying that the slice looked good, TJ. I was also afraid to hold up the whole pizza. I was afraid to just go bloop and just fall right off there. That would be just my luck. But I'm glad that you thought that the slice that I had looked good. What's what you say? My yo-yo quilt is making me yo-yo. LOL. Russell, you said the only horror series I liked was True Blood. Have all the seasons on DVD. See, you don't have to like them all. But usually somebody will have a favorite. So I think that's cool that you at least like True Blood. Super Batman Nerd, you say, I would like to play TCM, but I got burned out with the Friday the 13th game. 1,000 matches with Jason and 1,000 matches with the counselors. And speaking of the Friday the 13th game, Kane Hodder plays Leatherface in I guess he did all the action sequences, just like he did for the Friday the 13th game. Rooster, you say I lurk a lot with the Dead Pit Boys. I put my headphones on and fiddle around the house. Yeah, see, and that's cool. You're still, getting some enjoyment. You're still supporting the guys, and it's all good. Thank you, Russell. You say great films, Dana. Blissful says, Super Batman nerd, I can barely win solitaire. Solitaire, I'm a terrible gamer. Well, Blissful, I'm a terrible guy. I suck at games. I've said that before and I'll continue to say it because I like to play them, but I suck at them. And about the only thing I can play successfully is The Sims. And that's only because I got the cheat code where I can get all the money and I just build an elaborate house and then just have my people go walking around it. TJ, yes, sir. I am working on those as we speak, although not right this second because I'm doing this stream. All right, so let's go ahead and dig in to these three, I guess, full length films, 3 or 4 full length films, and these short films. Okay, so I could not find a way to watch, but either A Dangerous Method, Maps of the Stars, or Crimes of the Future from 2022, which was just last year. Um, and I also could not find a version of Consumed from 2014, but I did pretty much watch all of the shorts. So I'm going to go over, you know, kind of like the plot of these films that I could not find a for free version to watch. And unfortunately, I don't own them. Okay. So, A Dangerous Method. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with this Cronenberg film, but this is basically it's a biography, drama, and romance. But it's kind of weird type of romance, if because I watched the trailer and I was like, this is bizarre, but it's David Cronenberg, so he put his own little spin on it. So it's a look at how the intense relationship between Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud gives birth to psychoanalysis. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, and I am to some extent, and would have really liked to have been able to sit down and watch this film. But unfortunately, sometimes you just, if you don't already own it, kind of get in a space where you just can't watch all of them for whatever reason. But this stars Michael Fassbender, Keira Knightley, and Viggo Mortensen. Viggo Mortensen was in a lot of Cronenberg's later films. So what I saw in the trailer was Michael Fassbender plays Carl Jung and Viggo Mortensen plays Sigmund Freud. So it appears from the trailer that the movie focuses mostly on Carl Jung, and he is visited or has an appointment with a young woman played by Keira Knightley, who um, evidently gets off from being punished or spanked or whatever. So that the relationship between Young and this woman is the focal point pretty much. One half of the focal point, and the other half of the focal point is on the professional relationship between Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. Okay, so there was a lot of especially with Sigmund Freud, there was a lot of sexual type of I guess research might be the way to put it. A lot of psychoanalysis and all that stuff. Um, yeah, X-ray. Morrison was like Cronenberg's Depp. Yeah. Uh, so you prefer Young over Freud, X-ray? Russell, say I'm not a gamer. I'm a stoner. Um, so anyway, I mean, this appeared to be a movie, although I never really thought much about Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, except in the like passing, maybe passing thoughts. There's a ton of books about them and books that they have written, and people that are studying that type of are going to go into that field, as a job. I have more than likely read, the Carl Jung books, the Sigmund Freud books. They've studied it, they've researched all of that. But I think I feel like what David Cronenberg was trying to do with this movie is to open it up a little bit, not so much on the research that they were doing, but how they reacted to things going on around them. So it appears in the film that Young begins a sexual relationship with this woman who's his patient. And you see Young and Freud talking, and Freud's like, it seems that you've taken up one of your patients as a mistress. And, unfortunately, Young's wife finds out about it. And, she says at one point, you can't just expect me to just let you go. And so there's a lot of very powerful females in this movie. And it almost seemed like to me, just reading about this and watching the trailer, that the men who it seems are supposed to be the focal point of the movie are kind of taking a back seat to these powerful women in this movie. So I am intrigued by it. I might see if Steve can find me a version of both this and Maps to the Stars, because I'm intrigued enough to want to watch them eventually. So that one was in 2011. The next, sorry guys and gals, I uh, hit the wrong button. So hopefully, I am back in here. Um, but for some reason it messed up my it touching up my appearance. Um, you missed it, Russell. What's the film? Well, I was just talking about A Dangerous Method. Um, and I'm getting ready to talk about Maps to the Stars, which for some reason, I may have went away for a second, and I do apologize. But let's talk a little bit about Maps to the Stars, which, well, this thing, I must have thrown everything off here. Okay. So Maps to the Stars was in 2014. And it stars Julianne Moore. Also Robert Pattinson is in this. I've never really been a big fan of Robert Pattinson, but it looked like he did a pretty good job in this. John Cusack is in this, and I probably talked about this movie briefly uh, whenever I was doing my For the Love of John Cusack streams. But this is listed as a comedy drama, but when I watched the trailer, I didn't see the comedy element. It looked all pretty serious to me. So what it is basically is a tour into the heart of a Hollywood family chasing celebrity, one another, and the relentless ghosts of their past. And again, this one seemed really intriguing to me. Um, Julianne Moore, I love. I've always loved her in anything she's in, basically. And it also, there were some um bloody scenes. When you see, you see pictures or little snippets of film where somebody's got blood all over their face. I'm sorry, but that just makes me intrigued. Um, no, Rooster, I didn't get yanked. Now maybe if I tried to show trailers or something, which I would have liked to have done, but again, I'm playing it safe here. So, could I recommend these two films? Yeah, I think I could. I think you would probably be safe trying to watch either one or both of these films. Like I said, just watching the trailer and reading a little plot synopsis for both of these films um, has led me to um, want to seek these out in a version that I can watch. Russell, you say Dana, great film. So, are you talking about Maps to the Stars or A Dangerous Method, or both of them, Russell? Um, I think you may be talking about Maps to the Stars, but I could be wrong. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Crimes of the Future from 1970, which was a Cronenberg short film. However, in 2022, he did Crimes of the Future, which, based on the trailer I watched for Crimes of the Future from 2022, and being as I just watched the short film from 1970, I'm like, nah, these two films do not seem like they're the same type of, excuse me, goodness. I don't know if it's this root beer I'm drinking or what. But Crimes of the Future from 2022 is basically listed as a sci-fi film. And it definitely, watching the trailer, I could definitely tell it was a Cronenberg film. But what I'm confused about is the fact that Steve told me not long before I was on the stream that movie is shit. And I was like, watching this trailer, it doesn't appear to be shit. It appears to be classic Cronenberg to me, by all the bizarre body horror looking stuff, and what appears to be creatures and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, this looks right up my alley, as far as, Cronenberg's concerned. That's what you say. Dana hitting the wrong button is usually my gig. LOL. Yeah, I don't usually do that. I thought I was on the other screen where I was reading about the movie, and I just went to hit back to go back to the search page. I was like, dang, I just took myself right out of the stream. So, um, let's give a little bit more. I'll give you a little bit more information on Crimes of the Future. I don't know how many of you guys and gals have seen that, or the one from 2022. So, what is Crimes of the Future from 2022 about? Kristen Stewart is also in this movie. Viggo Mortensen again is in this movie. Scott Speedman. Um, so humans adapt to a synthetic environment with new transformations and mutations. See, again, classic Cronenberg to me. With his partner Capri, Saul Tenzer, celebrity performance artist, publicly showcases the metamorphosis of his organs in avant-garde performances. Okay, so that part there, I'm going to talk about when I start talking about Crimes of the Future, the short film from 1970. That is the part that seems very similar to a scene in the 1970 short of the same name. Okay. This is listed as drama, horror, and sci-fi. Based on the trailer, I think I would agree with that. But again, I'm a little confused why Steve said it was shit. It appeared to be, an interesting piece of work from Cronenberg. Now, I may actually watch it and not feel the same way, but I am definitely going to try to give this one a chance, um, because I felt like it was more of a return to the classic Cronenberg. And of course, we got another fly, like the lone fly that's flying around here. Sorry to keep banging around on things, but I'm keep trying to kill the thing. There's one fly that gets around here and just swarms around my head and in front of my face, but Russell, you say waiting to see the Equalizer 3, but not a David film. Well, that's okay. That's okay. People can be excited for whatever they want to be excited about. So, one of the other films that I want to talk about, I believe this is more of a long form type of film, and it's based on a book that David Cronenberg actually wrote, and it's called Consumed. I'm not sure if the book is called Consumed, but there was another title, The Nest, also. Now, I guess yeah, it's his debut novel called Consumed, and I'd really like to get my hands on the novel itself. And there is an online video trailer if you want to check it out on your own for this. You can find it on YouTube. It actually is listed as a short action crime, and it's only 10 minutes long. But for whatever reason, I was not able, before I came on here, um, to be able to find a version of it to watch. I did watch the trailer, which, had me intrigued. Um, so basically, what I could gather from it is that this woman goes to a doctor or a surgeon and wants to have her breast removed because I'm guessing she thinks that these insects have taken up residence inside her body. And I'm guessing she's hoping that this will get rid of them. So it is a short film. It's based on David Cronenberg's debut novel, Consumed. And Evelyn Brochu plays the main woman. Um, so if you can find that, I would definitely say check it out because just the trailer for Consumed made me intrigued. Well, I'm not sure if the book is hard to find. Well, let's take a look because I'm kind of curious too. I would um, I would definitely like to read the book as well. So let's take a look here. So you can find the novel um either in paperback form for $14.92 from Amazon. You can get a Kindle version for $12.99, or I could use one of my Audible credits and get it in an audio format. There are also other formats listed for hardcover and an audio CD. Now, if you want to pay $36.68, you can get the hardcover, or you can pay $13.98 for the audio CD. I'm probably going to. I've got some extra Audible credits. I think I'm just going to get the Audible version of it and take a listen. just because I'm so intrigued by it. Yeah, exactly, Bliss. Well, I wasn't expecting to find that, but you say full choice is nice. Um, so let's kick these short films off. Technically, Consume was a short film as well, but let's kick the bulk of the short films off with Crimes of the Future, 1970. I'm not really going in any order with these, but I did watch that. It is on YouTube if you want to take a gander at it. Um, it's an odd little film. Basically looks like a student film, and I believe that Cronenberg filmed it around his college or the college that he went to. You're not going to see the standard group of actors that he used in later films. These were probably fellow college students. Um, and I could see in a lot of these shorts, you're probably going to keep hearing me say this. I could see the buddings of what would be the future Cronenberg. Okay. Um, these were bizarre, but so are his later movies, you know. So you had this guy, the main guy, who I think is head of a dermatology clinic, I believe. And um, so there are these patients or residents, I think they call them, who are slowly being affected by this disease. And where I said that this is similar to Crimes of the Future from 2022 is that he basically goes to visit, I believe, a former doctor at this clinic who is now suffering from a disease where he grows these bizarre looking organs inside his body and they have to be removed. And the doctors at this other place where he's at put them in jars and there's colored water and all that. And they don't look like any organs we have ever seen before. They don't look like hearts or lungs or kidneys or livers, you know, anything like that. Um, but so that when I was reading more about Crimes of the Future from 2022, I was like, oh, yeah, that is similar. Um, Also, there were certain things in this short film that reminded me of, you know, stuff like Shivers or They Came From Within, um, or, you know, even Rabbit and stuff like that. And it was just so, you know, I took it to have hints of homosexuality in it. Um, or, you know, cross dressing or whatever, you know, even maybe trans, you know, because you saw what looked to be, you know, just your regular average guys, you know, and then they were the assistants of this main guy in the story. And the one guy is smoking a cigarette outside the clinic and he lifts up his hands and you see that there's red nail polish on his fingers. I was like, okay, I just wasn't expecting that. And they paint one guy paints the nails of another guy who's sort of dressed like a hippie. Keep in mind this was 1970, and and the hippie looking guy is suffering from this illness that causes people to secrete some kind of white substance, and other people eat it. But keep in mind this is Cronenberg, okay? If you know it's Cronenberg, you can kind of say, oh, yeah, well, this is Cronenberg. This is what he does, basically. And then the main guy at one point, I've heard of cleaning your glasses, your eyeglasses, but he takes his glasses off and licks them. He licks each one of the lenses and then puts them back on. Um, he also eats this white, looks almost like marshmallow cream that comes out of these people. Then they start hemorrhaging, and eventually they die. And so you see the main guy interacting with assistants and stuff like that. There is no dialogue, but there are sound effects here and there. And one of the sound effects sounded like popcorn popping. And I just thought that that was so unusual, the way that, and interesting too, unique and all that, that Cronenberg would put that, absolutely no dialogue. You would see people having expressions and stuff like that, but there was no dialogue between the characters. So keep that in mind if you check this one out. And the sound effects are just incredible, in the whole course of this short film. I wish that I could kill this fly because it's just driving me crazy. Super Batman Nerd, you say, I would like to get the horror novels based on movies like Child's Play and Halloween without pain and arm or leg. What I would like to get, because I've got some of the Halloween ones, I probably like the Child's Play ones too, but I'd like to get the Friday the 13th ones. Oh, yeah. Blissful brought this up to me too, and I need to check it out. She says, Super Batman Nerd, there's an app, Thrift Books. I find a lot on there. Russell, you say both Crimes of the Future films are on Look Movie 2. I'm going to have to check out Look Movie 2, Russell. You say the 1971 is an hour and 2 minutes, 37 seconds long. Yes, it is. I was able to watch it on YouTube, but since you said Look Movie 2 has both of the Crimes of the Future films, I'm going to have to check that out. Yes, exactly. Rabbit and Shivers are both great films. TJ, you say now all kinds of dudes do nail polish, LOL. Well, I guess in certain circumstances and stuff, but I just wasn't expecting like the bright red. Oh, I get that, Russell. You say, I'm a heavy metal music fan and I paint all our nails black. Oh, I have definitely seen that. And I hope you guys don't think I'm like saying all guys that paint their nails are homosexual or trans or cross dressers. I wasn't exactly saying that. Well, I was in no way, shape, or form saying that. So I don't want anybody to think that. But there were other, scenes where the touching going on between two men, and like there was one scene where the main guy was caressing. Um, I mean, I guess that's the best way I can think to describe it. Caressing uh, the guy that was dying, basically. And I don't know really if it was a sexual thing or he was just trying to comfort the guy in some way. Ooh, that's cool, TJ. You say you got the Dead and Buried novelization hardcover? Man. Yep, Aussie, exactly, Russell. Blissful, you say, TJ, I can't do hardcover. I read in bed and I've almost gotten a concussion on several occasions. Oh, I love my hardcovers though. I can't I understand what you're saying, Blissful, but I almost all my Stephen King books are hardcover. TJ says, I refuse to get soft cover, but I get you, B. LOL. I don't even know, Russell, if I watched the Rabid remake, but you say it's a waste of time. Yeah, I kind of figured that. Okay, so moving on to the next short film. What again, these are not in any particular order, but Transfer from 1966, which is about a 6 minute and something short. And I don't know. This one was weird. This one and From the Drain, which I'm going to talk about next. Um, I don't know. It was 6 minutes of a guy talking to a doctor. And it sort of reminded me of those scenes in The Brood where they're kind of like opening themselves up to the doctor in these weird ways. And it gets even weirder as it goes on. Um, that I got from it, that might not have been at all what Cronenberg was doing there. But that's what I got from it. Um, so to give you a little more background on Transfer, it's a 1966 short film written, shot, produced, and edited and directed by David Cronenberg, and it features Mort Ritz and Rafe McPherson. They list a running time of 7 minutes. The version I saw was just under 7. So the plot of this basically is a psychiatrist and his patient at a table set for dinner in the middle of a field covered in snow, and this is definitely the way it is. The psychiatrist has been followed by his obsessive former patient. The only relationship the patient has had which has meant anything to him has been with the psychiatrist. The patient complains that he has invented things to amuse and occasionally worry the psychiatrist, but that he has remained unappreciative of his efforts. So Cronenberg basically had $300, but that's equivalent to $2,427 in 2021. Um, so he wrote, shot, directed, and edited the film using $300. Margaret Henson and Stephen Nosko, two of his friends, recorded the sound. Cronenberg stated the title of the film came from Sigmund Freud's concept of transference. So even at that early stage, Cronenberg had an interest in Freud. This was included along with Cronenberg's other early films on a bonus disc in Arrow Video's 2015 UK Blu-ray release of Videodrome. And this bonus disc, entitled David Cronenberg's Early Works, was later released on its own a year later. So, if you are interested in checking out Transfer, you can find it on YouTube. If you have that Arrow release of Videodrome, you can feel free to watch Transfer and some of Cronenberg's other short films. Blissful says hardcover is for day reading. LOL. I fell face first in a book before, just, because I told Steve that I want to get back into reading again, reading my Stephen King books, especially because I miss it, and I've just gotten, things have gotten so busy. I need to just take time to relax and read some of the book at night, because it really helps me relax, really helps me sleep. Although I haven't been really having any problem falling asleep here lately. Super Batman Nerd, you say I have the same thing on my phone. I'll accidentally drop it on my face. I I haven't seen Animal Factory, but Russell, as you have talked about it, I'm kind of intrigued. TJ, you said that's why I spend on my shorts now. LOL. Videodrome and the Brood. Yeah. All of those very, very good films. Okay. So the next one is From the Drain from 1967. Okay. This was odd even for Cronenberg, I think. And these are not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? Even I was like, where was he trying to go with this? So this one's almost 13 minutes long. You can find this one on YouTube as well. So this short is literally centered on two men in a bathtub. It's implied that they are veterans of some past conflict, but revealed that they are currently in a mental institution. I kind of got that after, a couple of minutes or so. The first man is paranoid about the drain of the tub. The second is indifferent to it. He's like, nah, there's nothing in the drain, because the one guy keeps telling him, you need to put the plug in the drain. And he's like, I'm not going to put the plug in the drain. I'm not worried about it. After the conversation between the two men progresses, a vine like tendril emerges from the drain to strangle the first man. And the second man shows no emotion, and he doesn't, to this sudden turn of events, and the film ends. Now, he had $500 for this one. Again, Cronenberg wrote, shot, directed, and edited the film. The $500 is equivalent to, or was equivalent to, $3,912 in 2021. Again, this short was included along with Cronenberg's other early films on a bonus disc in Arrow Video's 2015 UK Blu-ray release of Videodrome, and then there was a separate disc entitled David Cronenberg's Early Works that was released later in the year. Yes, Russell. Oh, are you saying Animal Factory is on YouTube? I'm gonna have to check it out. Um, but all of these shorts that I'm talking about are definitely on YouTube. Russell, you say for me, tea means dinner. Okay, so the next one is Stereo from 1969, which Stereo is about an hour and 2 to 5 minutes or something like that. It's about the length of Crimes of the Future from 1970. This one I could see more budding Cronenberg, because, there were scenes where the people in the film were participating in what appeared to be sexual acts, one woman and two men. And it sort of reminded me again of Shivers, or They Came From Within. There were some slow motion scenes again that reminded me of Shivers. And, but the thing that may turn some people off of this short film is the fact that it, it again, there's no dialogue. You just see the characters interacting with each other, but there is a voiceover talking about this experiment with telepathy. And again, this was 1969. So people are going to be looking very hippie-ish in this. And so, there's drug use in this, and it's basically set up in such a way that you feel like that the scientists or these doctors are continually watching these people interact with each other. And they've also had a type of brain surgery that evidently opens them up to telepathy more easily. Okay. But as the film goes along, we find out that there were some mishaps when they say that several of the participants in this study ended up killing themselves. And one guy crushed part of his skull with a drill. Evidently, he might have partially recovered, but several of the others did commit suicide. Not in real life, of course, but um, Blissful, you say naked yoga? Yeah, kind of. So I'm going to give you a little more background on Stereo. So it's a 1969 Canadian science fiction film directed, written, produced, shot, and edited by David Cronenberg in his feature film debut. It stars Ronald Maodzik, who would go on to appear in later Cronenberg films, Crimes of the Future, Shivers, and Rabid. So here's a guy that went on to be in some more well-known Cronenberg films. The film was Cronenberg's first feature-length effort following his two short films, Transfer and From the Drain. So the plot follows several young volunteers who participate in a parapsychological experiment. So the film says it or purports to be part of a mosaic of educational resources by the Canadian Academy of Erotic Inquiry. And yes, they do say that in the film. It documents an experiment by the unseen Dr. Luther Stringfellow. A young man, Ronald Maodzik, in a black cloak, is seen arriving at the academy where he joins a group of young volunteers who are being endowed with telepathic abilities, which they are encouraged to develop through sexual exploration. And there are several scenes of sexual exploration, can't even talk, in this film. It is hoped that telepathic groups bonded in polymorphous sexual relationships will form a socially stabilizing replacement for the obsolescent family unit. One girl develops a secondary personality in order to cope with her new state of consciousness, which gradually ousts her original personality. As the volunteers' abilities develop, the experimenters find themselves increasingly unable to control the progress of the experiment. They decide to separate the telepaths, which results in two suicides. The final sequence shows the young woman who developed an extra personality wearing the black cloak from the beginning of the film. So, Stereo was shot at the University of Toronto in Scarborough from August 6th to November 1968. From August to November 6, 1968, with a budget of $8,500, equivalent to $64,021 in 2021. The Canadian Council donated $3,500 to the film's budget under the writer category, as it did not establish a cinema category until the next year. And this film was shot at the Andrews building of the University of Toronto Scarborough College. So as far as a release, I mean, you can find this on YouTube, of course. This film has been included as a special feature in multiple releases of other Cronenberg films, including in standard definition on Blue Underground's Blu-ray release of Fast Company, which I do have, and high definition on Criterion's release of Scanners, which I also have, and also in a high definition on a bonus disc and Arrow Video UK Blu-ray release of Videodrome. The bonus disc from Videodrome was later released on its own, like I said earlier, as David Cronenberg's early works, together with the director's first two short films in his sophomore feature, Crimes of the Future. So, I have heard people say that they didn't much care for Stereo as a short film. I was thinking Dirk. I hope I'm not misspeaking, or speaking out of turn. But I was thinking that Dirk was one person that said he didn't much care for Stereo. I was intrigued by it, and I can see myself definitely waiting a little bit and watching it again. I thought it was a little disturbing, actually. But, how many Cronenberg films aren't disturbing? Okay. So if you do watch it on YouTube or otherwise, be prepared that even though there's no dialogue between the characters, I think the voiceover makes it even creepier because it's such a sterile environment anyway. It almost seems like they are not just in a clinic, but it seems like they're in a mental hospital. And a lot of times they are behaving as if, the brain surgery that was done may have caused, mental health issues. For instance, the young woman or girl who manifests another personality, which by the end of the film completely takes over her original personality. Russell, you say you used to be a child hippie of the 60s. Yeah, I have said many, many times that I feel like I was born the wrong generation. I just feel like I was meant to be part of that hippie generation. Russell, oh, that's awesome. You say you went to Woodstock at 13 and 69. That is amazing. And you live in Toronto? I thought you had said that you lived in Toronto. That's what you say. Russell, I visit Woodstock often. I used to go to the anniversary in Bethel. TJ, you say, how can we get some of that public movie making money in the US? LOL. The Fly remake, that's an excellent one. I agree with Blissful. Blissful says, TJ, wouldn't that be great? So the next one is Camera from 2000. And again, you can find this one on YouTube and watch it. It's probably about 6 minutes long. And I thought this one was really creepy because you see an older gentleman, like he's not ancient, but he's older. And he's sitting in a chair like he's being interviewed, and he's talking about these. I don't know where these children came from. I don't know if they were his, which was kind of creepy in and of itself because these kids kind of converge on him. And he's saying, I don't know where the kids found this camera, but not only did they find a full size working camera, but they found all this equipment. And these are young kids and they somehow know how to use it all. And so the man is talking about how he had this nightmare when he was younger. He also talks about being an actor, but he said he had this nightmare when he was a younger man about watching a film. And as he was watching the film was infecting him and causing him to age rapidly. And it terrified him. And then, this is split between him talking and the kids working on the equipment. And then the kids, near the end of this short, they come around him. They've got their camera, they got their sound equipment, and they're acting like adults, which again was creepy in and of itself. And you can see that the man is terrified, and the kids are putting makeup on him. They put a scarf around his neck, and the little boy says, action, or one of the little boys says, action. And the man looks into the camera and he says, I don't know where the kids found this camera, or something to that effect. And it's like, oh, so this nightmare is coming true. But the whole combination of all of these things was just so eerie and unsettling. So this one will take about 6 minutes of your time. I would highly recommend taking a look at this one. So the last one I want to talk about is The Death of David Cronenberg from 2021, from a couple years ago. And this is only about a minute long. Not long at all. It's like almost a blink and you'll miss David Cronenberg in this. This was very, very unsettling to me, because what appears to be the corpse of David Cronenberg is lying in a bed with his mouth open. Then David Cronenberg actually comes into the room where his body is in this bed, and he bends down and touches the head. He kisses the corpse, and then he crawls in bed with the corpse and embraces the corpse. And then the film ends. Very, very unsettling and disturbing. It's amazing what Cronenberg could do with a minute of film on that. So, again, that one is on YouTube as well. I encourage you guys and gals to take a gander at that one. Take a gander at any and all of these. If now, like I said, Stereo and Crimes of the Future from 69 and 70 are both a little over an hour, about an hour and 2 minutes, hour and 5 minutes. And they're going to take a little bit longer to watch, but I think they're all of these short films that I've talked about are worth taking a look at some point in time, especially if you are a fan of Cronenberg's other works. So I'm going to read the stuff in the chat. TJ says, how are those good 60s enhancement meds, Russell? Russell says, TJ, far out, man. TJ, weed and acid at 13. That blows my mind. Russell says, they stone you when you're walking down the street. Russell, you say another drone moving across the sky. So, guys and gals, I have officially reached the end of this stream and reached the end of the Camp Cronenberg streams overall. So I hope that everybody has enjoyed this little kind of walk down memory lane of David Cronenberg films. I hope that one, I introduced you to some films that you might not have even thought about otherwise, and also made you want to go back and watch some of the classics as far as Cronenberg is concerned. Because, again, I've said this before, I'll continue to say it. That is one of my goals with a lot of these streams, is to get people excited about the overall package with these directors. And so I hope you've enjoyed this one. I did do a little reading just to kind of pad it out a little bit. I hope you guys and gals did not mind. So again, I don't know about tomorrow night. I will just have to see how I feel. However, I did feel like that I had put off the Cronenberg stuff for too long and needed to just dive right in and finish this series up. And so then Wednesday, of course, me and TJ will be back talking about Friday the 13th, the series. Thursday will be another Seductive Poison and Resurgence. And Friday will be midday with Dana and Jay. And hopefully I will actually have an intro for it at that point. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, Dana, great series and great live. Thank you, Rooster. Rooster says, very informative. Dana, I will watch some of those shorts. Thank you. And thank you, Russell. Russell says, Dana, great night chat. Had fun. Good night. And on that note, as I always say, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. You guys and gals have a great night, and I'll see you next time.